Chapter 2. Hasley. I always said I was kind of like a magnet that attracted bad luck most of the time, but didn't they have a negative and a positive pull? I don't know. My legs ached from the sheer effort I found myself putting in as I ran at full speed through the halls of the high school. I was running over 20 minutes late for literature class, which was being taught by Professor Hoffman, the same professor from last year who was aware of my lack of punctuality. This was going badly. Very badly. I took a deep breath as I stood in front of the classroom door and mentally prepared myself to knock on it and lose my dignity once again, excusing myself to the man for my lack of responsibility. In less than a minute it opened, and the teacher looked at me angrily. I smiled at him, trying to hide under it the shame that was beginning to invade me. "Hasley," he said, trying to intimidate me with his eyes on me. "So, tell me, what's your excuse this time?" I fell asleep, I confessed it. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, maybe I should have lied and not told the truth. "Well," he said. "I hope he doesn't fall asleep next time." For a second I thought he would let me pass, but I was too naive. The man went back into the classroom and locked me out of the class. "Teacher." I tried to speak. His plans did not include listening to me, so he just interrupted me by speaking again. "Till next class, Derek's. Be thankful I don't want to go to detention with you today." He knew I hated that last name. With nothing more to say and me unable to defend myself, he closed the door. I had been late on a few occasions, about 5, 6 or 9 times. Although, come to think of it, I was eventually late, but I did my homework and always tried to pay attention to him, even though I was sleepy in his class. Literature bored me, that's it. I liked to read, but not the stories he used to leave. I was late for the simple fact that I was a late sleeper, and that made it hard for me to hear my alarm clock. Surrendered, I puffed out my cheeks and made my way to the football field bleachers. At a certain distance, where the shadow fell slightly over one of the bleachers, right there, a boy was sitting astride with his back to the field, which was deserted. No rugby team, no soccer team. Curious as I was, I forced myself to walk towards him, carefully climbing each tier but without going in his direction. However, when I was about to reach his height, my shoe clumsily slipped and I fell flat on my face. "Shit." I groaned. Closing my eyes, I begged God to make me disappear at that instant. He was standing in front of me with his brow furrowed. I'm sorry." Even though I wanted to sound confident, a stammer was what came out from between my lips. I kept thinking about what I said. Why was I sorry? I wasn't sorry at all. Well, maybe I was. Whatever he was doing, I had interrupted him by my lack of dissimulation and my giant awkwardness. He licked his lips, and thanks to that action I could see that a small black ring adorned the right side of his pink lower lip. He rolled his eyes, let out a sigh full of annoyance, and with a single stride he approached me and offered me his hand, enticing me to take it. Embarrassed, I agreed to help myself and stand up. His height was the first thing I could confirm once I regained my posture, for even being one step higher than where he was standing, he still towered over me. He was very tall. "Thank you," I whispered, trying to make the red color in my cheeks fade completely. For a second I felt clumsy, though I realized later that I was. I stared at him without giving myself the task of dissimulation. He was so cute, his eyes were a shade of blue, his blonde hair swaying in the light breeze, causing his bangs to cover his forehead, his lips a low shade of pink that stood out against his fair, almost pale skin.